Hello the internet, my name's Laura, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something that I have been waiting to do for a really long time, finally gotten around to it. I am doing my updated Begonia collection video. I started collecting them, you can see there's a couple right here. I started collecting them. I have a lot of begonias. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm going to do it all in one video, probably. But I don't know. We're just going to have to see. But it's going to be really exciting either way. And hopefully I'm not going to forget any. I'm looking around being like, God, remember where all of them are. Because I don't have them all collected. There's obviously some here. There's some there. There's some there. I'm not going to show you guys the propagations because that would just be like a whole can of worms. So... okay, so we're gonna start with the ones that are I have right here in front of me because that's the easiest thing to do. All right, so we are starting with this beautiful Rex Begonia, which I call Raspberry Swirl. There is an actual Begonia Raspberry Swirl out there. I don't know if this is it. I'm pretty sure it's not, but this Begonia came without a name, and because I want to name it something, I call it Raspberry Swirl. It's raspberry, it's got swirls, yeah. So I got this plant, and it was really big. I've had this one for a while. And then the leaves just kind of started dying and no new leaves were growing. Like the new leaves would just come and then they'd like shrivel up and die. And like it just kind of kept declining. And then at one point I got my grow tent and I threw it in the grow tent and it didn't really do much better for a while. And now it's finally starting to put out some new growth that is staying healthy. Like new things would grow and then they would just shrivel up and die. And now it's actually putting out some new growth. It's staying healthy. It's all good. This plant seems to be doing really well. And for the most part, I just kind of leave it alone. The ones that are in my grow tent don't get watered all that often because they don't really dry out all that quickly. But yeah, so this one is self-named Begonia Raspberry Swirl, and it is lovely. It is beautiful. I love it a lot. I wish it would do better, but the fact that it's doing well at all is I'm very happy about. Okay, the other one, the other Begonia, this is another Rex Begonia. I bought this at Lowe's, and this plant never did well for me. And I eventually threw it into a terrarium and it started kind of coming back a little bit. And then I stuck it in the grow tent and it was doing really well for a while. And then it started dying off again and now it's coming back and being happy again. So I don't know what's up with this thing. It has also been all kinds of different colors. Like those leaves are kind of like pink with the silver, and it was at one point green with some silver, and it was at one point, I don't even remember. This plant has just been a hassle and a half to take care of. I don't even know what it's named. I call it the $3 Begonia because I literally got it for $3 from the Lowe's on clearance because, I mean, it didn't even look that bad. You know, the plants sometimes you get and they don't look that bad. It didn't look that bad. Oh, yeah, because see, that leaf there, see how much green there is on that one? And then that one down, these two leaves here, both have a lot of green on them. So I don't know what's going on with this plant. It probably has something to do with the light that it's getting, but it's still alive. And it just continues to sit in there being mostly alive. My $3 Begonia is so wonderful. Okay, what else do we have down here? This is my Begonia Deco Daddy. That is the actual name, this one. And I think it might be an eyelash Begonia. I think this one, an eyelash Begonia. I think this is a Rheozomatis Begonia. It definitely has more of that shape. And I got this one offline, and it came in. It was really healthy, and it did really well for a while. And then I think over the winter, my humidity dropped a lot. And you're probably going to hear this about a lot of my begonias. A lot of my begonias suffered when I did that. Or when winter hit. I didn't do winter, when winter hit. And so this guy also got put into the grow tent. And he continued to decline for a little while. And then, God, the underside of those leaves, I mean, the tops of the leaves are pretty, but the undersides are also really pretty. And then he started to kind of even out and start actually putting out new growth that was surviving again. And so this guy is also doing really well, and it's a really pretty plant. I really like how that looks. So another one that I got online, this is a Rheozomatis Begonia called Black Fancy. I liked it because it had a similar leaf shape to my Begonia Breakdance, which you guys know I love, and it has grown in a trailing fashion. This one I got, and they said on the website when I bought it that it was very slow growing. It is indeed very slow growing, but when I put it into the grow tent, it actually started growing a little bit faster. I still wouldn't say that it's a fast grower, but it definitely started growing faster, and it even started, because, you know, Rheozomatis begonias, it grows out the end, and then you get that really long stem. It started growing new leaves out of the stem that had lost all of its leaves toward the edge. So this guy's doing really rather well. And I'm really happy to see it growing at, you know, a reasonable pace. Because I think I've only tried to propagate it twice, and it I think I just gave one of the propagations to a friend who's like super into begonias. And the other one I think is still down there somewhere, but they're just like, they're not growing super fast. So I just, okay. This plant that you've been able to see the whole time that I have not yet picked up. This is Begonia Red Planet. It also has really awesome markings on the tops and the bottoms of the leaves. Just like the Deco Daddy. This is actually I bought this plant. It was the reason I made the order off of the website that I ordered them off of, because I just thought these leaves were so cool looking. This plant never really gave me much trouble. Every once in a while, a leaf would kind of crisp and die, but like for the most part, the plant itself stayed really healthy. And then I put it into the grow tent, and it exploded. It was maybe half this size at the beginning of the winter, and it grew so big, so fast, and right now there's only this one leaf, it seems like, that has crisped and died. So I'm starting to see that and I'm pretty sure this is a Rex Begonia, not, the Rex Begonias I'm starting to see really, really need like a stable, fairly decent humidity. Oh, my humidity is actually pretty decent in here today, because we're finally starting to get into warmer weather. My heat isn't turning on as much, and so that it's not killing all of the moisture in the air, but this one has done so well in the grow tent that I would feel bad bringing it out of the grow tent. Obviously, it's out for me to show it to you, but it's probably going to go right back in there. But yeah, love that plant, and that plant is doing super well. I mean, that plant's doing super well. And then, oh, I've just got so many. I'm just going to have to pick them. These are going to be in whatever order, because, like, all right, so this is a plant I literally just got today. I traded my friend who really, really loves begonias, a whole bunch of propagations of begonias she didn't have, and this is an angel wing begonia that I didn't have. Obviously, I am like in love with these the shape of these leaves, and it's a cane begonia. So the angel wing begonia became begonia. And she has it potted in terracotta, which is interesting. I don't generally pot any of my begonias in terracotta. But since it's what it's in, I might give that a shot. Because I've seen other people who have them in terracotta. I would have thought that they would dry out too fast. But I'm willing to give it a shot just because there's some, and you're going to see. I'm showing you guys all of my begonias, the good ones and the bad ones. So you guys are going to see that I'm having trouble with some of them. And I don't know. It might be interesting to see. So these leaves down here, these new ones, I can't tell if they're curled because they're new or because they need some water. So I'm probably going to check. I'm probably going to check and see if that needs to be watered after doing this video. But anyway, I don't know what the name of this is yet. I haven't had a chance to look it up. If you happen to know, you know, let me know. But you know, I'll see if I can figure it out. Okay. And then she also gave me a rooted cutting that she had done of a Kit Kat. I think this is called a Kit Kat. And I just thought that that was super cute. And so it's just now, it's got a whole bunch of roots down in there. It's just now starting to put out some leaves on the little bottom of the root thing there. So I feel like I'm going to let it set in here for a little longer before I pot it up into any type of soil mixture, and let those little leaves kind of develop a little bit more. But this guy's new, just like the previous one. Have not had it for long. Don't know what it takes to take care of it yet. I'm going to assume it's like most Rex begonias and would like some humidity, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay, what else is within arm's length? I'm going to have to move to get some of these plants. Okay, this guy. Oh, yeah, we got a big one going on now. I think I'm going to have to move some of these over here. Just to give myself some room. So I don't knock over anything that would break. Okay, so this is a begonia that I got probably over a year ago now, from Steve's Leaves, and it is called Brad's Halloween. The picture that they had on the website for this plant is terrible. The reason that I ended up getting this begonia is because, as you may know, if you've ever tried to order off of Steve's Leaves, they're very often out of stock, and then they have a day that they restock, and then if you don't get the popular plants that day, you're left over with stuff that isn't quite as popular. And I wanted to buy some stuff from them, and so I kind of just saw what was there, and one of them was this Brad's Halloween. And so then when I got it, it started putting out these super dark, the leaves that were on Steve's Leaves looked like they were kind of brown and mottled. So they kind of look like, do I have any example? Yeah, they kind of look like this one leaf here. So it's not like they don't look like that. But then it started putting out these gorgeous dark maroon leaves with these, like, it looks like the veins are on fire. Like, I mean, they're just absolutely gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? And, like, they don't have a picture on their website that does this plant justice. But most of them are like that, and then eventually when they get a little older, they'll fade down into other colors. And then, and I don't know whether these are crisping because I'm not taking good enough care of it, or if the older leaves just eventually fall off. But this plant's doing pretty well, all things considered. And, like, I was pleasantly surprised that it actually looked better than the picture, because these leaves are just gorgeous with the dark color and the veining. So this is Begonia Brad's Halloween. I got this from Steve's Leaves. I want to say this is one of my older begonias because it's one of the first begonias I got. And that is why it is so large. So that is Brad's Halloween. What else is within reach range? Okay. So this guy, you may have noticed the pot. This is one of Costa Farms Trending Tropicals. I've got a couple of those, and obviously I'll be sharing those with you as we come, but this is the first one I was able to grab, so it's the first one you're going to see. This is, while they didn't have names on them, I'm pretty sure I figured out what all of the ones that I got from them are. This is Begonia Sinbad, and the leaves, it's a cane begonia, and the leaves all have like tons and tons of tiny little white dots on them. Tiny little white dots. And this plant has just kind of exploded since I've gotten it. It's flowering. Begonia Sinbad has the pink flowers like that on there. That's, you know, one of the reasons why I've decided that it probably is Begonia Sinbad, even though they didn't label them as such. This plant, all the little speckles, it just gives this plant's leaves such an interesting effect that it really is just so cool to look at. And then a lot of the new growth will come in slightly pink, and then it turns more silver as the leaves mature. So it's a really, really cool plant. I don't think I've had this more than 6 months. It was definitely not this big when I got it, though. It's been growing pretty big. And it does have a couple of leaves here with the little crispies on it, but for the most part, it's in pretty good shape. It's getting a little wild for me. I don't know. I like it, but I feel like it just takes up a lot of space. So I might at some point, like, trim it back and neaten it up a little bit, but I don't know. It's still pretty cute. So, Begonia Sinbad. Alright. Another plant from the Trending Tropicals collection. I am now hidden behind it. Again, they didn't put the name on here, but without a doubt, this is Begonia Arabian Sunset. Another cane begonia. They have these really dark foliage leaves with gorgeous red undersides. You know what, if I turn the plant, it's easier to see that. Gorgeous red undersides. And the new leaves that come in are like a little bit more red. There's one there. Kind of red, and then they grow into the darker shade. And it's just, and you can kind of catch glimpses, like when you're looking at it, you can kind of catch glimpses of the red underside. And so it kind of gives the dark green leaves like an outline of the dark red. And I really like the way the leaves are shaped, where they're just kind of a little bit wrinkly. So this was really, really, this is probably my favorite out of the Costa Farms begonias that I've gotten. I love them all, but this is probably my favorite out of all of them. Yeah. And it's getting tall, and I am trying to make it grow up this low stake, and we'll see how well that goes. Which is probably why it's a little bit more under control than the Begonia Sinbad that you just saw, because I only have one stick this tall. I know, it comes down to that so often. Oh, I guess I have all of these within range. Okay, so this is another begonia. There were 3 begonias in this most recent Costa Farms release season, whatever they call them. And it was those 2 which I got earlier, and then this one which I haven't yet been able to label. This one came in like later. I didn't manage to find it until probably about a month ago. I know this is the first time I've been looking at many of these plants like super up close, and so I'm going to find like little things that I need to pick at. It does look like it's flowering though, so I must be taking care of it pretty okay. I made sure to get this one I specifically picked one that was a little more shorter and compact because those two had been getting so ridiculous that I was like, I want one that's kind of short and little for a little while. But anyway, this one has got, again, lots of little dots, but these ones are more pink than the Sinbad. And, I mean, that's just, it's really pretty. Obviously, this plant hasn't had as much time to grow accustomed to my house and get bigger yet, but it's doing really well so far, and I am super happy with it. And that one is sitting right over there for now because I didn't give it a better spot to live. Okay, and then close. I also, in Costa Farm's first release of plants, they put out the Maculata Whitey Eye, which was a fairly uncommon plant that a lot of people are super interested in having, and it was just hard to get and fairly expensive. And I saw it in a grocery store. Oh, that's kind of snapped. I saw it in the grocery store. They had it in a Wegmans, and I picked it up because I was like, it's not really a begonia that I love, but it is a begonia. And since it's kind of uncommon, you know, maybe I'll be able to like cut maybe I'll be able to make some propagations of it and, you know, sell a couple propagations. And I brought it home and it did terribly. This plant hated me. And I'm pretty sure now it's because it really wants a certain amount of humidity. Because usually cane begonias are far easier to take care of than this plant is, in my experience. But I've had it in the grow tent for much of the winter. It was one of the first plants, like I knew I was putting this plant in the grow tent. And this is only recently did the leaves start getting to be like anywhere near the size they were when I got this plant. Because just for the longest time, this plant just hated me. So I think it's finally being happy. I have, however, had fairly good success of taking propagations of it, rooting those in water, and those seem to be doing fine. And so I've sold a bunch of those and have, you know, and so now more people in my area are able to have the Maculata Whitey Eye, which was what I wanted to do in the first place, because if it's an uncommon plant and people want it, and I have it, then I can propagate it and get it out to other people. So even though I'm not super crazy about this plant, I have been doing a number of propagations and getting them out there to the people who really want them, and I just keep this mother plant and keep trimming it back, you know, when it gets big enough. So yeah. I mean, it really is, when these leaves grow really big like this, it really is gorgeous. It's just I had so much trouble with it for so long, and it's just such, like, I don't know. I think it's because I just had so much trouble with it for so long that I was just annoyed with it. I have to now start loving it now that it is loving me a little bit. It's also feeling a little bit dry, so I might need to water that, but that's okay. We'll get to that. Like I said, part of this is I haven't looked at any of these plants up close in a while, and so, okay. We're now going to go into a couple that are not looking their best, because I said I'm going to show you all of these, whether or not they're looking great or not. This is Begonia Taconite. I also got this from Steve's Leaves. This plant has gorgeous iridescence when you shine light on the leaves. Like it has this gorgeous blue on here. And it did really, really well for a while. And then I would lose a whole bunch of leaves and it would grow a whole bunch more leaves. And then I think over the winter, it just was like, this is not enough humidity for me. And so most of the leaves have these like crispy bits on them. The new leaves come in and look fine for a while. Like this is one of the newer leaves. But just in general, this plant does not look all that great. And I keep being like, I don't know. Now that I'm going to see whether or not my begonias improve once we get more humidity, or once I get more humidity, like when it's, but for right now, I just, like I said, a bunch of these are gonna look kind of rough because they're just, I assume it's because they don't have enough humidity because I'm watering them just fine. I don't know. This is Begonia Taconite, and I love it, and it gets these super huge leaves, and it grows really, really fast. It's really, really easy to propagate. It's just not enjoying life right now, so sad plant. Ugh, I think this is the last one I have on the table. So this is a plant that I bought, it's another Rheozomatis Begonia, and I bought it, and it was gorgeous. And I brought it home, and it got a little crispy on some of the edges, and then I put it into my grow tent, and it started doing really, really well. It got like these huge leaves, and then it just sat in there for a while, and then some of the leaves started to just kind of crisp along the edges, and some of the other leaves just kind of died off. And so, like, it did really well in the grow tent, and then it stopped doing well in the grow tent, and I'm not sure. I mean, the leaves are looking great. I really like the color on these. I actually, my friend Kenyon suggested they look like watermelons, and so I call this my watermelon begonia. It is self-named because I don't know what the name of this begonia actually is, but the leaves are just really, really gorgeous, and I'd like to be able to figure out why it's doing just the tiniest bit of crisping while it's in the grow tent, because it's got plenty of humidity. I don't know, but I really like this plant. All right, now I'm going to cut, and I'm going to pull down, I'm going to move begonias around so that I have more that I can just pull out and show to you guys, so there's going to be a quick cut. I guess I really didn't have to tell you that, but I'm going to anyway. All right, we're back. Not that you even knew that I was gone. Okay, I have collected more plants here. So again, in no particular order. This is Begonia Red Kiss. I bought this I bought a Begonia Red Kiss 2 years ago on Valentine's Day. And I brought it home, and it declined and declined and declined and declined. But at some point in there, I decided to take a cutting of it and do a propagation, and that is why I have this plant here today. This is a Rex Begonia. It hates me. I'm pretty sure that it just wanted more humidity than I was giving to it, or maybe I let it dry out a little bit too much. Yeah, see, even the baby, I have this in a covered dome right now, and even the baby leaf coming in there was just all shriveled up and dead. So I don't know what's up with this plant. I love it. It's super gorgeous. Like all of that red is super, super shiny. But it just doesn't seem to be happy with the amount of humidity that I have in my house, even normal levels of humidity, because it started dying way before winter. I lost the original plant long enough ago that I don't even remember how long ago it was, but I have this propagation, I have a second propagation. I'm going to put them together and attempt to make this a plant that stays alive. It's probably, okay, it's definitely going into my grow tent when I get around to pulling it out of there. Begonia Red Kiss, I love it, it hates me. Why are you not sitting flat? Oh, there's like a stick under there, okay. Okay, so this is Begonia Madame O'Reilly. This plant, I didn't even want. So this plant came from Steve's Leaves, and I managed to get on there on the day that they were restocking. And so basically what happened is I went and I just started, I stuck some plants into my checkout list, and the website was taking so long to load that I wanted to go ahead and order the ones that I had in there before they sold out, because they have a thing where like they don't hold on to it if it's in your shopping cart. You actually have to purchase it, or else somebody else can purchase it out from underneath you, which has unfortunately happened to me a couple of times. And I put this plant into the list, and I wasn't super interested in it, but I thought it was pretty cool looking. And then I didn't want to take the time to get it out of my list when I was trying to order the other plant that I really wanted, and so I just went ahead and ordered the both of them. And then I got it, and I kind of sort of fell in love with it. The picture of it had all super dark leaves like this. Like the picture was all the leaves look like this. And then basically almost as long as I've had it, I've had all these different, like the more green leaves, the more red leaves, just all kinds of different leaves, colors. But I really love the crinkle, the crinkle of texture on the leaves. That's I think this is one of the original leaves, actually. Because it's a little, when I first got it, it crinkled a little bit just on the edges. And then it was perfectly fine in my humidity. I'm glad that there are some begonias that are okay in my humidity. So this plant has never really given me any problems. And I really like it. And it's very pretty. So this is Begonia Madame O'Reilly. On that same order, I also got this, which is Begonia Deja Thorneis. It's got really cool looking leaves with the green and all the silver. And this plant also, I think this is a Rheozomatis Begonia, and this plant has never really given me any problems. As you can see, it's pretty huge. All the leaves are fairly healthy. There's a little crispy bits on here or whatever, but it's pretty gorgeous. And this was the plant that I got along with the Madame O'Reilly. These two came together because I had both of them in my shop and in my cart, and I really, really wanted this one. So this one just kind of keeps doing really, really well for me. And the leaves actually come in with like a pink hue to them. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it on the camera. This is one of the newer leaves. I can see the pink. I'm not sure if you guys can. And then it eventually turns completely silver. So, really cool plant. Very easy to take care of. I love it. We have here Begonia Peter Piper. But if you look at it, it looks very similar to the Brad's Halloween, so they're probably fairly closely related, species-wise or whatever-wise. Because it has the same really dark leaves with the veining. The leaf shape is a little bit different, though. And I bought these as different plants. I assume that they're different plants. I mean, this is the tag that it came with that said it was Peter Piper, so I assume that it is what it says it is, even though it looks very, very similar to the Brad's Halloween. And this one is obviously, the leaves have not gotten as big because I've definitely had this as long as I've had the Brad's Halloween. Oh, I put it back over there, so I can't even compare them. But I've had this as long as I've had the Brad's Halloween, and this is as large as the leaves have ever gotten. So they're probably different plants. They're both really, really pretty, and I love them. What else do I have down here? Okay. These tiny guys. Super tiny. I got this as a gift from my friend Jerry, Planting Memories. He wanted to send me some plants. We can't send plants to each other directly because he lives in Britain and I live in the United States. So he bought some plants off of Etsy and had them shipped to me. One of them was a philodendron Birkin, which I'm not going to show you because this is a begonia video. But the other one is this, which is a Begonia Dragai. This is a Begonia Dragai Glasgow. The Dragai species, the Dragai family, is different than most of the begonias that you're used to. It gets these thick stems, and eventually they can turn very big and tuberous. And I got this plant, and I went through a time keeping it alive. We have been through some things, let me tell you, but it's like doing super awesome now. It's growing really well. The leaves are all healthy. It's flowering, obviously, as you can see. And I've just always been super happy with it. It's definitely not a begonia I would have picked for myself. But because Jerry got it for me, I've been super loving it. I mean, I haven't been loving it because Jerry got it for me. I love it because I love it, but I'm glad that Jerry got it for me. So, if you're ever looking for something that's interesting, if you have a lot of begonias, you know, you can look into the Dragai family. There's some really interesting ones out there. You know what? Let's go over here. Like I said, I'm showing you guys all my really, really bad plants. This is Begonia Winter Twilight. This plant has been doing really, really poorly like all winter. It was doing really, really great all through the summer. And then winter hit and it just, the leaves, I mean, like this is definitely a humidity thing because the leaves are just curling in from the outside. And at the time, it was too big to put into my grow tent. It has now shrunk. This was one of the plants that had some of my larger leaves before they all started dying. It's also flowering, so I guess it's not dying. It's been putting out new leaves, but the new leaves are just unhappy, and then they eventually crisp and die like this. So really, really looking forward to the raising humidity, because I would really like this plant to go back. And I'm making some plans for next winter for what I'm going to do with my begonias, because truthfully, and I really think it's only my begonias, a lot of my begonias really suffered this winter. It just got way too, I just lost so much humidity down here, and even my humidifiers couldn't keep up with it. So that guy, oh, this is leaves falling off. It's beautiful. Anyway, Begonia Winter Twilight. Got this from Steve's Leaves. It was wonderful. It came from them and it was great and all that kind of stuff. It just, all right, what are you? Come here. I have not looked at you in a while. What have you been doing? So this is a begonia that I got at the same time as the self-named watermelon begonia. And it did super, super well. When I bought it, all the leaves looked like this, and I called it Pearl Sky. And then after winter hit, the leaves started changing into this color, because these are both the same plant. This and this are both the same plant. I didn't change where it was. I didn't change how I was taking care of it. It just, the leaf color just changed. And I don't know, maybe it was the winter light, because this one does sit right next to my window outside. It has a grow light on it, but then it's also gets outside light. So it's possible that something about the winter light was different than the summer light, and so the color changed. I'm not a fan of the new color, but I feel like I was more of a fan of the old color, and so I'm kind of hoping some of the old color will come back. It actually would be interesting to try and propagate one of these darker leaves and see if the color, because I have propagated this and the leaf came out this color. But it'd be interesting to try and propagate one of these leaves and see if the leaf comes out this color or that color. I don't know. I still love this plant. I just kind of wish that it would decide what color it is. I wish it would decide it was the color that I wanted it to be. I know, don't we always wish that? All right, I've got some more down here. This is my beautiful Begonia Griffin. Some of you might remember that I've had this plant for quite a while now. I got it. It wasn't last year, was it? No, it might have actually been last year. So I got this right when the pandemic was starting. And it grew like huge. You can see this trunk here was like super, super long. And then I found out that the way you propagate it is by cutting off bits of the stem, and then you can propagate it from there, and I've got those going, and they're doing very well. So it was like a whole lot bigger, and then I cut it down a lot. I had leaves that were bigger than my hand on there that obviously kind of came off when I did that. But I'm looking forward. This plant grew like super, super fast, and it slowed down over the winter, obviously. But I'm looking forward to it growing super, super fast again once once summer hits. And this apparently is a plant that can live in my climate. So like I could technically plant this outside and it would supposedly live. I probably will keep it as an indoor plant or a house plant, but I might put it outside during the winter, or I don't know why I keep saying winter. Put it outside during the summer and see how it does outside. Just waiting until the temperature stops fluctuating, just because I'm always scared stuff is going to die in the cold. So, but anyway, Begonia Griffin. I actually got this from White Flower Farms. Like, I didn't even get this. I mean, they're technically a plant place, but they're like an outdoor plant place. But I specifically wanted a Begonia Griffin because I love griffins. And, you know, it's the name. And it's really cool looking. And so I specifically went and looked for this. And that was the only place that was selling it. And I managed to get one of them. So I love this plant. And I'm looking forward to it growing really, really big. I have this guy. This is my Begonia Lucerna. This is a plant that my mother was growing in her house for years before I really got into plants, and I always thought it was gorgeous. And once I got into plants, she told me that she would give me a cutting, and she gave me a huge cutting, which I turned into like 3 different plants that then grew this big, and then I cut off one of them, and I kept having trouble with the leaves like crisping and dying. And so this was my attempt to try and get that back under control, and I've been messing with it and trying to figure out what I need to do in order to keep it happy, because my mom did not have any trouble keeping it happy. And like, I feel like I should be able to keep it happy. It's not being super happy right now. I'm still trying to figure it out. I actually had it in my grow tent for a while, and it didn't make much of a difference. So I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with it. But it's an old plant. It's absolutely gorgeous. The leaves are just huge as a matter of being, because the plant is so old. And then once I figure out how to care for it properly, it will be wonderful. But, I don't know. There might be more videos on how I end up taking care of that plant, just because I'm going to have to try some things. Okay, over here. This little plant, I think, needs to be up-potted, because it's starting to go a little bit, like, it's starting to lose some of its color. And I have been watering it with fertilizer, so I think it might, I don't know. The next thing I'm going to try is to actually up-pot it, because this isn't that deep, and the plant is getting pretty big. This plant has grown pretty fast. It's called Begonia with Lukuchi. I've also heard it referred to as the Brazilian lady. I specifically went looking for it, and all the cuttings on Etsy were not expensive, but like more expensive than I wanted for like just a cutting. And then I went to Steve's Leaves that week, and I saw this plant, and I was like, wow, that really looks like the Brazilian lady. But it's called the with Lukuchi. And I was like, you know what? It looks enough like it that I'm just going to go ahead and get it. And I got it, and I'm pretty sure it's the with Lukuchi. It's the Brazilian lady, because it just looks exactly the same. It gets all the little white flowers on it. It's like a trailing type begonia. And I just need to get it into a bigger pot. But I really, really like this plant. And I'm going to figure out what the problem is with it so that it can start growing beautiful again. I guess it's also possible that it's just the humidity. You know, I sound like a broken record because I just keep saying that over and over again. But that's what we got. We're getting low. We're getting low on plants. Okay, so this beautiful plant that has dirt all over the outside of the pot for unknown reasons is the Begonia Benitoshiba. This plant has a really cool leaf shape. The leaves get really, really pink when it's got enough light on it. And it's kind of like a hybrid between a cane begonia and a Rheozomatis Begonia. Like, it doesn't really fit into either category. I probably, if I was going to propagate it... No, that's true. I propagated this with a leaf cutting. But I bet you could also propagate it with a stem cutting if you were going to do that, if you wanted to try that. But yeah, I did. So, again, it's kind of like a hybrid between the two types. But I got this guy because I like the leaf shape, and I didn't think I was ever going to get a Begonia Pink Minx because they weren't all that easy to find. And so I bought myself this because I could. And then like 2 weeks later, my friend got me the Pink Minx. So I really still like this plant a lot, but I also have the Pink Minx now. And so I will show that one to you. My friend saw this plant was on my wish list, and she happened to be on Steve's Leaves a week that I wasn't. And so she bought it for me as a Christmas present, and I've been like grateful ever since. This plant did really, really well through much of the winter, and in the past 2 months has started just going super south. Or just some of these leaves, I mean, I feel bad taking them all off because I'm just like losing all of the leaves, but like the leaves just started crisping all at the edges, all of the older leaves. And I don't know why. I can blame the humidity, but it did well through much of the winter without, and so I'm really just not sure. Getting some of this. It flowered. It did really nice. It grew really well. I mean, it's still growing pretty well. It's still putting out new leaves. It's still doing nice. It's just some of the leaves are crisping, and I'm just not sure. So I think I might end up having to propagate it and just start over and see what happens. But like, super happy about having this plant. It's just so gorgeous. Those are some of the really nice leaves, the newer ones. It's just a really, really pretty plant, and they just naturally have these pink leaves from like when the leaf is new, and it just stays pink. It's called the Pink Minx. It has that. So this is one of my favorite of my begonias that I have. I'm just having a little bit of trouble with it right now. And speaking of trouble, this Begonia Aetna also hates me a lot. This plant is a Rex Begonia, and again with the humidity issue, you can hear all the crinkled leaves. It's still growing, so I'm almost positive this is a humidity thing. I'm just waiting until the humidity in my house goes back up. It's a really lovely, gorgeous, full plant, or it was. So I expect it to be again. But I also took some propagations just in case. Yeah, if your plant is ever dying, take propagations so that you can keep the plant even if you happen to lose the main plant. I really need to clean this up a little bit, but I'm not going to do that today. So this is my Begonia Aetna. It really is such a much prettier plant than this. Any of these leaves, I mean, the leaves are all dark and they have like big pink splotches on them. And sometimes they have some green on them when they get a certain amount of light. Really gorgeous plant. I promise you it really is. And then I just recently got some new plants. Well, I mean, I got the new plants from my friend, but I recently got some new plants from Logi's. This is Begonia Palmer Prince. I haven't had it for more than a week, so I don't really know much about it, and it hasn't done much growing in my care because I've only had it for, a couple of days, but really, really cute. I love the color on this, and eventually the leaves get darker when they get older, and then the veins stay like a really light color, and it's very striking to look at. You can kind of see it, like that one's gotten a little bit darker, but the picture I saw obviously was like super, super gorgeous. So still in transition with that one because I only just got him. I got this guy, which needs some water. Also gonna have to remember that. This is Begonia Flamenco. It looks a lot like the Begonia Breakdance, but it is in fact a different plant. I got this because it kind of looked like the Breakdance, and it also had really cool, like it shoots up flower stalks, like really tall, and then it's like a little tree of flowers, like above the plant. I just thought it looked really cool, and I really wanted one, and now I have one, so I love it. And again, I haven't had it more than a week, so, and then I got this, is a Begonia Looking Glass. It came in with this huge leaf. I did not grow this huge leaf, but it has done really well in the couple of days it's been in my house. And this is a cane begonia. So I'm looking forward to it hopefully being fairly easy to take care of in general, but this is one of the begonias I had heard about, and I had a chance to get one, and so I decided to pick it up. And it's, I mean, like, it's just so much silver. It's just so pretty. And then the dark green veins really offset it very nicely. So that guy, I ordered this. This is a Begonia Connie Boswell. And yes, it came in this condition, and I have since gotten my money back, but I'm hoping and praying that it stays alive because they didn't have another one to give me. And, yeah, it's looking worse than it did the other day. I'm hoping that it stays alive enough that I can save it and, like, eventually grow it into a plant, because it's not a super easy plant to find. And I really, really wanted this because I had my friend Jerry and my friend Emma had one, and I just kind of fell in love with it, and I really wanted it. And the order from Logi's was to get this plant, and then it came in like this, and I was really, really sad. Like I said, they have given me my money back, but they didn't have any to replace it with, and so I'm just stuck hoping that this guy survives. It's got a really cool color scheme. You can kind of see that there. You can't really tell the shape of the leaf because all the edges are just curled and unhappy, and poor baby. I'm so sorry. But I'll keep you guys updated on whether or not this plant lives or survives. You hear that? There's no other option. You either have to live or survive. Okay, and then the plant that I have specifically left until last, assuming that I have not forgotten any other begonias in my house, which it's very possible that I have because I just have so many. Let's do a quick little. Nope, we're good. Okay, This is my Begonia Breakdance. Look at those gorgeous leaves. This guy has been one of my favorite plants ever since I got it. And the Rheozomatis Begonia, and it's really, really easy to take care of. Like, it doesn't have any problems with the humidity. I mean, we've gone through basically the whole winter, and I've had no problems with that. And when it needs water, it just kind of, it gets a little limp. It doesn't crisp up. Super handy. The leaves are just absolutely gorgeous. They've got this cute little curl on them, and they've got the light green and the dark green and the red undersides with the light green, and they're just all gorgeous. If I have any negatives to say about this plant, it's that the leaves are so stiff that when they're growing out, if they don't have enough space, they will just kind of like rip themselves open, because the leaves are just so stiff that they don't really have any give. And I've snapped, you know, obviously this poor little guy has got little bits of himself snapped off just from, like, I put it back and it, you know, it snaps off because there's no, like I said, there's no give on it. So, got a little bit of a dead one in there. I have to be very careful to not snap any leaves while I'm reaching in here. Oh, never mind, that's that whole leaf. I don't know why that's like that. Maybe it is just slightly not liking the humidity, but for the most part, the plant's in good shape. So, but this is like my favoriteest plant. It is so beautiful. I do wish it would spread out just a little bit though, because it's very, very compact. There we go. And does not need to be watered, so we're good. But that is going to be my begonia collection. I'm pretty sure that I have shown you every begonia that I have in my space. Yep, that's all of them. I've gotten a lot of begonias over time. I mean, you can see my whole shelf is just empty because that has all begonias on it. But, you know, let me know which one you like the most. Let me know which ones you might have. Do you like cane begonias or Rheozomatis begonias or Rex begonias? Do you have any Dragais? I'm curious to know what you guys think about all of the different begonias that you know you have or that you've seen me have. I just really like begonias. There's just so much variety in them. There's so much color on them, and unless you go for like the really rare ones, like they're really not that expensive. Like I get gorgeous begonias and they're not super expensive. So I am a super fan of begonias in general. So if you like this video, go ahead and like this video. If you'd like to see how these begonias continue to go, especially the ones that are looking a little rough that I'm hopefully going to be able to save. I mean, I haven't lost any yet, so you know, go ahead and subscribe so you can stick around and see how that goes. And thank you so much for coming and seeing my begonia collection. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of this, and I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.